Before we begin, a note from the editorial regarding this week's issue. Sadly, we had to remove the Agony Aunt column, which is now replaced by an ad for the new Mean Garfield movie. That's right, universe. We took a highly educated, super experienced lady whose grandmother persona might have nagged you in a wrong way and replaced her with a ginger-colored, racist, sexist, misogynistic Twitter addict who resembles a decomposing jack-o'-lantern white supremacist cartoon of the 90s. Anyways, let's get on with the show.
Hello intelligent life forms and also humans. We're just happy to announce that this week we bought some broadcasting equipment from a complete stranger on eBay who promised that this will broaden our audio spectrum. And it's eBay, so it doesn't get more authentic than this. So in case it worked, welcome to you two, people of the 20th and the 21st century. Recorded on the 28th of November 2116, this is issue 2 of The Black Hole, a show where we understand the infinite gravity of every situation.
We have a very exciting show for you tonight. One of the week's biggest news was right here in India, where the ruling party and the opposition party came together to legalize the use of medical marijuana for the purpose of relieving arthritic pain. So to say, there is joint support for joint support for joint support.
And regarding this, we also have a special interview later in the show with the head of Sanstha for Crime Against Medical Marijuana, or popularly known as SCAM. But before that, let's dive into the news for this week.
In international news, a man named William Reed made his last living testament, which says that he is going to read his own will. So to say, Will Reed's will read, Will Reed's will.
Also from the city this week, a precognitive psychic driving through a tunnel claimed to see the light at the end minutes before she died.
Now for some news from a city college, where a student was expelled from the classroom this week because she was wearing a short top. The teacher, wearing a sari, said that it was wrong to wear something that showed skin.
In other news this week, an Indian actress and former Big Brother winner issued a statement that she wants kids to learn more about colors and in such recommends books like Color Me Happy, Jumbo Coloring Book and 50 Shades of Grey.
After the 2112 launch of Counter-Strike Syria, the gaming franchise is now considering setting the next one in Delhi. Sources show that the fans are pissed since being based in Delhi would make the in-game smoke bombs completely useless. Some gamers also complain that it might not be a safe place, even for a game that lets you equip M16 and AK-47 rifles.
In a dramatic turn of events in the Suraj versus Malhotra case this week, where top lawyers for the last 10 years have consistently claimed that Suraj winning this case was inevitable. Everything changed and Suraj lost the case this week when the Malhotras presented in court a video clip of Suraj cutting his nails at night.
In an expedition to Venus this week, Robert Klaus was selected over Rajan Ramanathan to be the first astronaut to step foot on Venus. Space experts and even Rajan himself believe that this was because of the fact that Mr. Klaus was so much more experienced. Meanwhile, all 4 of Rajan's aunts here in India believe that this is because he's on the computer all day.
Now for the jazz fans out there, a band leader who claimed to have the tallest piano player caught this week as the said piano player was found out to be only 5'8". So basically nothing new, just a story about a guy lying about the size of his pianist.
Now moving on to other music related news, the lead singer from a Backstreet Boys cover band was dragged into couples therapy by his girlfriend, who was tired of his neediness and insecurities. According to her, she had had enough of questions like, am I original? Am I the only one? Am I sexual? Am I everything you need? You better rock your body now.
In other news, patient who was unaware of her colorblindness finally treated. She says, I never knew I had color vision deficiency. It was completely out of the yellow.
In international news this week, the Screenwriters Guild of America is rightly renamed to Guy with a Beard and a MacBook at a local Starbucks, Guild of America.
Also, Pixar is to produce an animation film about 2 hungry termites who enter a restaurant and order for a table for 2.
In other city news, a man was told by the doctors that he had lost a lot of blood, following which he was immediately fired as the manager of the blood bank.
Now, moving on to news about cults. Cults, real-life version of Facebook groups, but on cocaine. The pyromaniac cult from last week faced a setback this week when they set their own headquarters on fire, thus facing mild first-degree burns. Sources show that the official theme song has been changed to Justin Bieber's Cold Water.
Moving on to the obituary section this week.
This week, we remember all the original members of the popular British rock band Coldplay. We sincerely hope they're in paradise.
We also mourn the loss of Morgan Freeman, who after all his rehearsal here on Earth will finally get to play the voice of God. Some fans say, and I quote, "Wow, this must be huge for God."
Also remembering elaichi or cardamom, which was banned earlier this week, especially from biryanis. We are not quite sure for how long this will hold up, as corporations and companies will have to give huge sums of money as reimbursement to farmers who had taken up elaichi insurances.
Moving on to the next ban this week, and also the top story. Indian government in a frantic decision has decided to ban lighters and matchsticks.
All of which started earlier this year when the only two countries who hadn't legalized weed yet was North Korea and India. And you never want to be on any list that has North Korea on it, ever.
Yeah, it's like being the only other person on a plane with a profusely crying baby. Except that this baby is a fat boy scout with nuclear launch codes.
Thus, after a series of hearings and conventions, India this week finally legalized marijuana for recreational use. But only 3 days later, that's right, 3 days later, politicians backed by religious committees were somehow able to pull off a nationwide ban of lighters and matchsticks, so as to circumvent the effects of weed being legalized. This has to be a new high for India in political lobbying, and a new low for how desperate politicians are getting to save their vote banks.
Banning lighters and cigarettes has led to a couple of drastic changes in the nation. Sources have reported that panwalas outside every gully in India now sell marijuana, while a handful of people at Colaba Causeway and Bandra Bandstand are trying to shadily sell lighters. Smoke alarms have doubled up in the city, while firefighters seem overjoyed since they are a part of Drug Enforcement Agency now. The Mumbai police too recently uploaded a slogan on their Twitter account. "Be as lit as you want, as long as you don't light. Hashtag ban lighters and matchsticks." Oh, Mumbai police, the cool uncle equivalent of all state-run departments. So, to talk more about this, we have with us Nirwan Baba, head of SCAM, whose organization was the leading committee that lobbied both the criminalization of marijuana for all these years and now the ban on lighters and matchsticks. And on the other side, we have a representative from the group of college students who supports the legalization of marijuana for do you have any other name for your group?
Oh yeah, ISEC interns.
Okay. So anyways, welcome Nirwan Baba.
Shukriya, thank you.
And welcome to you too, Hashish.
It's actually Ashish. The H at the start is silent.
So Nirwan Baba, people like Ashish believe that there is absolutely no sense in criminalizing weed, and especially not in banning lighters just because you had to succumb to Western diplomatic pressure. What do you have to say to that?
Yes, first of all, God bless. And look, I am doing this because it's the God's way. We all know that marijuana is a drug, and everyone knows that all drugs are very harmful substances.
Bro, what is he saying? Baba, crocine is a drug.
You didn't let me complete, na bacha. That's why you got confused. Basically, all this nasha is harmful. So I am just helping an entire youth PD, all of you kids, my bachas, by guiding them in the right way, away from all this extreme harmful weed nonsense.
No. See, that's where you're wrong. Look, bro, weed is like the Hillary Clinton of drugs. Something that isn't responsible for even 1/10 of the disasters that the media blames it for. While we legally give gold-flaked misogynistic Marlboro cigarettes and alcohol the power to destroy a nation.
I don't think he got the century-old Trump reference.
देखो तुम्हें ऐसा लग रहा है कि marijuana is less harmful, है ना? See, देखो हम ज्यादा जानते हैं ना आपसे. मान लो बात. God has always said respect elders. And that is reason enough why it is illegal. You have to understand, if we are saying it, it is supposed to be illegal because we know what is good for you.
Actually, Nirvan Baba, Ashish is right. Scientific studies show that marijuana is 114 times less deadly than alcohol. That's right, 114 times. And that's a huge difference when it comes to it. Like Titanic grossed 114 times more than Om Shanti Om. That huge a difference.
ये science क्या हमारे धर्म से बड़ा है बेटा? And if you want to talk about science only, what about the side effects of marijuana? उसका क्या?
Of course, side effects तो है. altered sensory perception, changes in mood, and difficulty with problem solving.
And what about side effects for your legalized tobacco? Cancer, heart disease, and strokes. Plus, smoking cigarettes is like staying up after 2 a.m. Nothing good comes out of it. On the other hand, studies show that marijuana can be used to treat illness such as AIDS, anxiety, arthritis, and Alzheimer's. And I've just gotten started alphabetically, bro. Can't spell healthcare without THC. Huh, dude?
I like how you've conveniently let out all the negative effects. Drugs से कितना violence होता है. Can you even imagine a world where marijuana is legal?
Of course I can imagine. Literally most of the world. Can you imagine a world where marijuana is illegal? That's North Korea for you.
I'm telling you na, this entire city will be ruined. Dange honge.
Dude, what are you saying? Bro, have you ever seen a bar fight start because of weed? भाई मैं लिया ना, मैं सोफा से भी नहीं हिलेगा.
See, this is why I have always said westernization is an evil. वो लोग करेंगे तो हम भी करेंगे क्या? If they jump in well, will you also jump in well? I think you should get well soon.
That's exactly what we did, Baba. We jumped in the well. For 25 years since 1961, we withstood American pressure to keep marijuana legal. Given that ganja, charas and bhang were a way of life in India, we opposed the drastic measure. Then in 1985, we buckled under the Western pressure and enacted the NDPS Act. It was a poor law that clubbed marijuana, hashish and bhang with hard drugs like smack, heroin, cocaine and crack. And we banned them all. You know, we are like that kid in the exam who wrote the right answer and then changed his answer because the topper put another answer. And then when the topper changed it back to what was our answer, we still haven't changed it back to our own answer even after all these years.
Plus, Baba, you succumb to westernization. Banning lighters to stop marijuana use is almost as ridiculous as banning Red Bull so that you could stop people from consuming Jaeger bombs.
You know, first of all, let me clear one thing out. You don't even know how to pronounce marijuana. I don't know what you keep calling. You are calling it marijuana. See, I don't get it. तुमको pronounce करना नहीं आता and you want to make it legal. Okay, and let me tell you one thing. You know, अब मुझे ना कुछ बात समझ में आ रहा है तुम्हारे बारे में. You're doing so much for this marijuana and weed. Do you also do it? Huh? Because that is what it is now. I have hit it. मेरे हिसाब से तो मतलब तुम भी यही सब करते होगे.
What? That's like asking reporters talking about criminalization of homosexuality if they're gay. Wait, never mind. Wrong analogy, because you did just that in interviews of November 2114, 2115 and 4 times already in 2116. It's almost like it's your stand-up set and you're just waiting for a Netflix special to come.
No, listen. No. Om Shanti. Do you want it to be legal because everywhere it is legal? Or do you want it to be legal because it should be legal?
Look, cigarettes are harmful, we've legalized it and then we put up a Mukesh ad. But for some reason, we've kept weed illegal even though it is significantly less harmful than tobacco.
Okay, see, are you looking all around? What is India without our traditions? What about our culture? What about our dharma? Your Western drugs are ruining religious beliefs.
So to not ruin religious beliefs, you ban matchsticks, which in turn affects aartis and pujas also. Like, you can't do that. You can't ban exercise because of yoga pants, stating yoga pants may or may not be good for your health in the longer run. Like, you can't do that.
Also because nobody hates yoga pants, alright? We love it.
It was an important step and we had to make that compromise to save our beliefs. You can't do marijuana in our Bharat Bhumi. It's so pure. धुआं सिर्फ हवन से निकला हुआ ही प्योर होता है बेटा.
And yet we still conveniently do bhang. Also, Atharva Veda mentions cannabis as one of the 5 sacred plants that relieve anxiety. But you know what? You're right. Let's ban a plant that has been used in India as early as 2000 BCE. I mean, if only there was some past religious basis for weed, you know, like if only one of the major 3 gods only openly advocated the crap out of it as his favorite food.
Huh?
Nothing? Really?
पूरी technical team समझ गई. शिवाय इसके.
I don't get what you all are trying to tell me. I think it is the generation jab.
You know what? Maybe it is just that you are insecure. Insecure that people won't need your ashrams and temples anymore to attain peace. Because if we allowed people to smoke weed, people can just attain peace at home.
See, you can, there is freedom of thinking, freedom of speech, freedom of doing whatever you want in this country.
Except weed, of course.
See, listen, आपको जो कहना था आपने कह दिया, मुझे जो कहना था मैंने कह दिया. Now, I am running on a tight schedule, and that's why I really have to go back to my ashram, because there is a peaceful protest going on, and we are going to burn all the weed that has been found.
Oh shit. Baba, can I come?
Remember the guy who died due to marijuana?
No.
Exactly. Because for it to kill you, you would have to smoke 1,500 pounds of marijuana in 15 minutes.
Wow, like more people died in the year 2013 because of selfies than because of cannabis. Plus, marijuana addiction is rare, much lesser than tobacco and alcohol. Caffeine is supposed to be just as addictive as marijuana.
Legalizing marijuana for recreational use in the US added $44 billion to the nation's economy in 2020. So, not only will it add tax revenue, it will also eliminate illegal trade and associated crimes.
That's right. We would have trade populated by the government, farmers, merchants, and retail clerks, not by criminals or drug dealers. Instead of spending money on arresting drug offenders and cutting down marijuana plantations, shouldn't our government save itself from all this trouble and legalize a culturally accepted substance that can help in socio-economic development of the country?
So, in all, I feel criminalizing marijuana has no solid basis, and banning lighters and matchsticks just to stop marijuana use makes even less sense. It's almost as senseless as writing "Don't touch" in Braille.
Plus, you know what I think? If we do legalize weed, smoking up might not be that cool anymore. So a lot of people might not even do it,
So, think of smoking up like watching the movie Deshdrohi. You probably shouldn't be doing it, and in no way do we encourage the same, which, by the way, in terms of deaths per year is just as harmful. But that doesn't mean that doing it in the confinement of your own house is something that should be criminalized. If you are a huge fan of Kamal Khan and want to once in a while spend 2 hours laughing and then eating and then sleeping off, you should be able to do that without going to jail.
And that's our show. This show wouldn't be possible without Hardik, so a thank you to him. And also we are extremely grateful to the cast and crew of Last Week Tonight with Johnny Lever for letting us use their set.
Stay tuned and keep watching the web streaming channel And Chill. And Chill, a much cheaper alternative to Netflix, especially when you don't give a shit about quality.
Oh, and also next up on our cookery show, Cooking Bad with Chef Ali Khan, you will learn how to cook lobster rabdi and bindi waffles. So stay tuned.
Break crazy.